Hello, friends, and welcome back to the channel Sacred Feminine Rising and Foundations for New Earth. I'm happy to be here with you. I want to cover a few things today. I won't be on here very long, but I just want to cover three things. I want to cover the new paradigm that we're living under ever since the new moon in Aries and what that has meant for us as a collective as well as individually. I want to talk a little bit about Trump since we just had a recent assassination attempt again here in DC at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And then I want to talk about two events I have coming up and how they can be supportive for you as you make your way through this new paradigm. And it's only for you if it resonates, but I'll explain a little bit more. So I'll get right to it. I'll keep this quick. The first is the new energy. So, as I just mentioned, since the new moon in Aries, we have a lot of energy changes in the collective as well as on an individual basis. So, collectively, I think a lot of people are waking up. We're waking up to our gifts. A lot of people are having visions. A lot of people are experiencing dreams, prophetic dreams, and starting to really align with their spiritual gifts. I hope that's you as well, and that you're starting to notice a sort of sensitivity to the unknown and feeling like you know things, but you don't really understand how you know them, maybe. Or perhaps you're clairaudient, you're hearing things, or you're clairvoyant, you're seeing things. A lot of people have been having these experiences, and it's really exciting to see that happening on a collective level. A lot of the awakening, and by the way, we are in the age of the Great Awakening, is what this time period is called. A lot of the awakening is also due to some of the disruptive and honestly very disheartening things that have been happening, right? The heartbreak that we're learning about with regards to the you know who files, the disclosure about government cover ups, we have the scientists missing. There's just a lot going on that could really make you depressed, right? If you think about it too much. But what I'd like to offer is that we look beyond that, okay? That we don't allow ourselves to get bogged down by these negative news stories, by these terrible things that we're hearing about, these inhumane situations that we can't even wrap our minds around, right? When it comes to what we're hearing about, especially through these, you know, who files. I don't want to say his name because it'll get flagged on YouTube. But, we really want to try to maintain a higher perspective, keep that higher timeline in mind. And what I mean by that is understanding that all of that's happening right now, as awful as it is and as challenging as it is right now, it's all going to end up for our higher good, for our betterment. It's hard to see, it's hard to imagine for the most part, but if we are able to tap into that intuitive aspect of ourselves, that inner knowing, like I just mentioned, we're starting to see glimpses of what I'm talking about. We're starting to understand that dismantling of the current systems is necessary. It's a necessary step in our ascension process. I talk a lot on this channel about how we're moving from 3D Earth to 5D Earth. 5D Earth as a different dimension where we're going to be living very differently than how we're living now. And for that to happen, we have to change our systems, our financial system, our economic system, our educational system, our healthcare system, our government. Everything is on the chopping block. And it sounds scary because it's what we're comfortable with. It's all we've ever known. But if we understand that in a higher perspective, in a different dimension, the fifth dimension, life will actually be a lot easier and we'll have a lot more sovereignty, freedom. We'll be able to really govern ourselves and take care of ourselves on a local level in our local communities. We'll have a lot more control over how our lives look. We're able to spend more time with our families. We won't have to work so hard. We will have healthcare technologies that are going to really advance us in the advancement of curing diseases. We're going to really reach a whole new level of living, including disclosure, open disclosure with our galactic brothers and sisters who are going to help us through this process of change. So if we try to keep that perspective, we can bear down and hunker down for this time that we're in, which is a very challenging, difficult time. Understanding that it's necessary to get to the next level. So now as an individual, I want to just talk about that a little bit. You might start noticing a lot of shifts in your own life. You might start seeing changes in your career, opportunities to move maybe to another part of the country, opportunities to change your job. Perhaps you have friendships that are just kind of dismantling, not because anything terrible happened. People are just sort of fading away. You might notice that. You might notice that your relationships, your romantic relationships have changed. You might have outgrown them. You might find yourself unwilling to compromise for what it is you really want in a relationship or in your career or your life in general. So we're at that point where we're really stepping into our power and we're really understanding what it is that we're here to do. We're not just walking around this planet aimlessly. We all came here with soul contracts, with a soul mission. And to understand what that is, we have to go through some change. We have to uplevel our energy. We have to get rid of all the karmic ties. We have to release ourselves from mindset beliefs, negative thoughts. We really have to change our mindset as to how we view things, which is another reason why this is super important. Okay. So, on a collective level and an individual level, a lot is changing energetically. And it's all for the good. Okay. Despite how it looks right now, it will get better. Now, one part of that is, like I just mentioned, if you're in the US, President Trump is our president, right? And he's a very divisive guy, right? We have people who either hate him or love him. And I understand, he's not an easy person. There's a lot of negative involved in what he's done and his persona. I'm not going to deny that. I try to remain apolitical because I want to rise above politics, as I said, because these are all just systems that we're outgrowing anyway. We're not going to be staying in a two-party system for much longer. Things are going to be changing quite a bit. And I live in Washington, D.C., and yet I'm just not a political person, so I don't really have strong opinions about Trump. But I will say this. He does have a sole mission to be here and to be our president for a reason, which is to cause chaos and disruption. He is a disruptor. That is his role. He's here to change the paradigm, to shift us into a new way of living, which is what we want. So, as much as we might dislike him as a person or as a president or for whatever reason, there's many reasons, I understand that. However, he has a sole mission, he has a sole purpose for being here, which is to disrupt the status quo and to cause us to question everything. We're at a point now where we're questioning everything. We're questioning everything about the way we're living, about the way our government is run, with the way our educational systems are operating, our healthcare systems, all of it. And that is healthy and that is good because we're in a time of great awakening, like I said, and a time of change, tremendous change across the board. So he has a function, whether you like him or not. There's a reason for him to be here. And so when I saw he had that assassination attempt and that he was okay, I wasn't surprised because I do feel like there's an anointing on his life for that reason. I'm not trying to say he's a special sacred figure or anything like that. Even the recent picture that he put out of himself as Jesus was ridiculous, I think, my personal opinion. Um, but what I am saying, there is an anointing on his purpose, on his mission. Okay. And, God uses imperfect people to achieve what it needs to be done. So, even the most difficult people, the most difficult person can still be used for good. Okay. So I say all of that with the understanding that the less that we can disagree and the more we can be in agreement and in unity, the better for the planet and the better for all of humanity. So, if we can try to move away from the political discourse and divisiveness and just kind of rally around the idea that he's here for a reason, he's here to disrupt the status quo, like I said, and move us into the next timeline, let's just embrace that mission and not get ourselves all caught up about our opinion of him and what he's like as a president and whether we agree with his policies, etc. Because at this point, the white hats or the light forces of the universe are winning. Okay. Yes, the dark forces are battling as hard as they can to regain control, but they're losing control daily. And that means that whatever is happening is likely going to sway in our favor because things are looking really good. And so let's just stay on this positive trajectory and let's stay positive about our future because that's really important. The more we can all collectively raise the vibration of our consciousness, the more we can raise the vibration of the planet and humanity as a collective, and we can bring ourselves into that next timeline, into that higher dimension, into that better way of living. We're going to be living in a place where there's no disease. We're going to have technological advancements, especially around energy and healthcare and the delivery of healthcare. There's so much to be excited about, and the galactics are going to be helping us with this. We're going to have open disclosure with ETs and beings from other star systems. We're going to have a lot of help along the way. So there's a lot to be excited about. We just can't see it yet. However, if you're tapping into your spiritual gifts, you might be starting to get a glimpse of that, which is super exciting. Okay. So, the last thing I want to talk about is I have two events coming up, which are hopefully supportive of this movement towards having a more positive mindset, embracing your gifts, stepping into your sovereignty, stepping into your power, having spiritual hygiene. All of these concepts are super, super important right now. And I'm trying to really help people as best as I can. So I have two things coming up soon. I'll put more detail in the description below. But just to briefly mention them, I have a Substack community on the platform Substack, which is a beautiful community of like minded people, all of whom believe in moving into this higher timeline, like I said, who are trying to do the inner work, who are trying to change their mindset, who are trying to reach that positive higher timeline and keep a really high vibe. So it's a wonderful group of people, a wonderful community of like minded, high vibe individuals. And the platform, I've been using it primarily to try to help people connect with their inner knowing, with their intuition, try to help people as they awaken to their spiritual gifts. Okay. So, what I'm going to be doing on next Monday, May 4th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to have a free energy reading, a group energy reading, and it'll be like a hot seat format. So I'll just pick two or three or maybe four people, depending on timing, and provide an energy reading. So I'll give you some feedback as to how I see your energy, what I see might be your next steps in your career or your business or whatever you're looking to do. I don't want to get too personal because it is a group setting, but I would like to offer that to the community on Substack. If you're not a subscriber, you can join for free as of right now. I will be adding a paid tier. I haven't done that yet, but if you want to join, you can get information about it below. Like I said, I'll drop the information. If you don't want to join Substack, you can just come to the Zoom meeting. You don't have to be a member of my Substack to join, but you can come and you can be a participant and maybe have a reading at this event. Okay. I've not done group readings before, which is why I'm offering it for free. I've done personal readings in the past, but this will be my first time doing a group reading, and I'm really excited about it. So, like I said, I'll put details below. If you do want to join Substack, like I said, it's a beautiful community. I'm posting information about all of these topics: mindset, spiritual sovereignty, growing into your gifts, all to help you become the best version of you, essentially, because we need that. We need that as a collective and as a planet. We need everybody to be the best version of themselves. It's really super important at this time. Now, the other event, you can go to both if you want, is going to be this Friday, actually, May 1st at 5:30 p.m. I'll put that down below as well. And this is a different intention. It's for a very specific group of people, so it's not for everybody. But we're going to be meditating around what we can do as individuals and in our local communities to live a life more focused on sustainability. So, really focusing on how we manage our resources, try to reduce the amount of consumption, less plastic, less purchasing of items. If we can just get something at like a garage sale or a community neighborhood share system, why go out and buy something, right? So, trying to reduce our consumption, trying to have a different mindset around maybe growing our own food. I know we're going to end up there eventually. So, why not learn about these concepts now? And the purpose of the meditation is to actually get divine downloads about what next steps look like, what is coming, and what should we do to prepare, not only for living a more sustainable life that's healthy for the planet, but also for the new economy that's coming. We're going to be having a different way of living in the next few years, maybe 5 to 10 years. We're going to have a very different way of living. And it's going to be a lot more about trading services, trading materials, building our own things, making things from scratch. A lot less reliance on corporate America. Okay. A lot less reliance on franchises and buying things and just being a constant consumer. It's going to be more about how can we build and create and grow for ourselves. So what does that look like? What steps can we take to move in that direction? We're going to meditate and then we're going to write about it in a channeled writing setting, which is basically allowing the divine downloads to come through your pen and onto the page. So the mind is not writing what's in the mind, it's simply flowing through you as a channel. And that's why I call it channeled writing. If that's of interest to you, then please come. Again, it's a high vibe group of people. all with an intent to help the planet and to help humanity as we move into this new paradigm that's already started. So we are welcome to come. Like I said, I'll put information about both of those events below. And like I said, I wanted to keep this short. I just want to make sure that everyone is really focused on trying to stay high vibe, really focused on trying to step into your gifts, understand that you're here for a reason. If you don't know what that is yet, work towards understanding what that is, what that looks like for you, and know that everything that's happening right now, it's difficult, yes, but it's going to end up for our betterment. We're just having to get through the yucky part now, as I call it. But eventually we'll meet that fifth dimensional earth that we're meant to be in, and life will be beautiful. It will be absolutely spectacular, and we need to get ready for it. Okay, so I'm happy to support that. If you want to join me in either of those two or both events, I'd love to see you. I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.